everyone, Jason here from Off the Beaten Path. Now today's trip is a little different. We're not in the high country, so I thought I'd start with this map to show you where we are. We're heading to Lerderderg. I don't think you actually say it like that, but we say it like that. Heading to Lerderderg State Forest. So where's Lerderderg? That's this green area in here. So it's about halfway between Melbourne and Ballarat on the sort of north of Bacchus Marsh. So we started off, we came in on Cameron's Road. Now there's apparently a bit of a four-wheel drive area here in an old quarry that we missed. We took this track here, took the Blue Gum track, and then these tracks across here, across to this campsite here on the river. Really just exploring the area. I have been here to Lerderderg once before, so I knew when we're ready to go that the fun time was going to be had heading out on Diggers Track here. And you'll see what I mean. Diggers Track is a lot of fun. There's rock steps, bog holes, the whole 9 yards. We were there in summer, so it wasn't super difficult. Doesn't mean I didn't get the patch stuck. Troopy Matt's along with me on this trip, so you can thank him for all the external footage that we've got. And Matt's got his own channel now, so just Google Troopy Matt on YouTube, and he's uploaded his first video, so be sure to go and check that out. He's got his 75 series troop carrier that he's built up and ready to go. So let's get into this trip. A little bit of exploring and then some fun times on Diggers Track. Hey everyone, so yes, Jason here from Off the Beaten Path, as you know. Here we are in Lerderderg State Forest. Really interesting little area to explore. As you heard in that intro there, have been here once before. There's a sign, we're officially entering Lerderderg. It's, a lot of the main tracks are like this. They're two-wheel drive roads. Not super steep in here. There's some contour for sure, but a lot of it is very, very accessible, designed for all-wheel drive, two-wheel drive vehicles to get to most of the campsites. But if you know where to look, there's some fun to be had. Now, we're here in summer. This was in February of this year, 2023. It wasn't a super hot day, but it was a nice sunny day. Hadn't been a lot of rain, so was surprised that there was a little bit of water around in various locations. You get what you get. Let's just say if you came here to tackle this in winter, I think you could easily spend an entire day doing some of the tracks. So our trip today really was just a little bit of an explore. Matt, who's with me, Troopy Matt, had never been here before, so just wanted to show him a couple of the campsites and the area generally. And I'd stumbled across Diggers Track last time I was here, which was back in 2019 before I started the channel, which is why there's no videos of Lerderderg previously. Just exploring. We'd had enough of two-wheel driving by this point, so there was this little side track here, and it looked like a little bit of fun. So I said, "Yep, let's tackle that." An excuse to get out of 2 high into 4 high at least, anyway. Nice easy little step up there. The traction control does really well, so look, that's something that I'm really intrigued to see with the 76 is how I go driving that without traction control, because I think that's been helping me a fair bit in the Pajero. We'll see that anyway, guys. So for those of you who have asked, no, I haven't sold the 76 and gone back to the Paj. I'm literally this far behind in editing trip videos, so you will know when it's the Paj's last trip video. I will make that clear. So yeah, that was just a little side track, nipped around the main track and back onto it, sort of up to a high point, and we were continuing on. Our first proper side trip off these two-wheel drive roads was onto the bypass track. It's a little bypass track to get across to O'Brien's Road. and that's really sort of the first taste that we get of what this place could be like in winter. So this is it coming up just here. I think it's a pretty sharp left-hander. Yeah, you do sort of have to keep an eye out for it. So yeah, the O'Brien's Road Link track. Nice little shortcut. Somebody can't spell. You don't need to post a comment telling me that I spelled that wrong. I've seen that. So yeah, this starts off pretty gentle. I mean, it's obviously a track rather than a road, but it's a pretty gentle sort of commencement to this track. And as I said before, this is summer, it's dry, there hasn't been a lot of rain, so there was really nothing too challenging on this little section here, but it could be very different, I think, in winter if you come after there's been 4 or 5 days worth of rain. So down the bottom here you can see there's some ruts that have sort of hardened up. Obviously I think this gets pretty soft. A little bit of water still sitting here, amazingly. I think this gets soft. You can see even on this side, the exit, beginnings of ruts starting to form. You know, if it was like how it is now all the time, there's no way they would be there. I think this whole area sort of softens up a lot through winter. I'm not sure on seasonal track closures in Lerderderg. If somebody is watching this and is local to the area, apologies for massacring the name, but maybe you can let us know if there are seasonal closures here. And yeah, there's a fair bit of evidence that people have a good play here from time to time. Yes, I probably could have driven around this. No, I chose not to because it looked like fun. And again, you can see there, pretty tight clearance under there because I'm only running sort of 33.5, nearly 34s, I think, on the Pajero. So I think in the 76 I would have got hung up on the solid axles. So that's again something I'm going to just have to deal with over time. The IFS certainly has really good clearance. You can see there's another one of these here. So as I said, like, this is what it's like now with no recent rain. Had there been rain recently, I think that would have been a lot softer, a lot boggier, and a lot more challenging. So yeah, it's only a couple of Ks long, this little bypass track, and here we are poking out onto O'Brien's Road already. Turning left, heading basically west down towards the Lerderderg River. There's a lot more to see around here, and we just didn't have the time. We'd been down in Melbourne doing some stuff, and we'd left Melbourne, and it was already sort of mid-afternoon by the time we got here. As you can see, the river doesn't have a lot of water in it at the moment, and that's reflective of the time of year. And yeah, clearly by the look of that vehicle, it's telling you the story that two-wheel drive vehicles get in here on these roads, no problem at all. So if you want to go camping, probably not a bad space to check out. There's a couple of good campgrounds. We check out one of them, just a little bit of reconnaissance while we were here, and we head that way shortly. There's a couple of walking tracks here at this area that I think head up to some old mining activity sites. We might have to plan a trip back here sometime, bring Matt's 75 series Troopy and bring the 76 series and you know, camp overnight and hit Diggers Track again. It's good fun. And if there's a bit more water in this river when we come back, that'll probably throw a rod in and catch some fish, no doubt. So yeah, just heading back east, and this is the upper Chadwick camping area, so this is turning off O'Brien's Road. So we came in from the east heading west down to river there, turned around, came back. It's only a K or so, and then we tucked in here to have a look at this camping area. Very open camping area. A lot of them are sort of designed for hike-in, walk-in, tent camping. There's a few sites that are clearly designed for vehicle camping, but not as many as you would see somewhere like the high country. There's a lot more sort of behind bollards or fences, tent camping spots tucked away in here. It is pretty well spread out though, as you can see, so you're not going to be crammed in right next to someone if you don't want to be. You should be able to find a spot sort of to suit yourself, and it does push through quite a ways, as you'll see down here. There's a few little side tracks there. Some of them are drainage gullies obviously, but a few little side tracks, and it's fairly well signposted there. That sign just went out of frame on the left hand side. We're just debating, do we go down there to the right or do we go down here to the left, and decided to go down here. It looks like this is where the campsites are, and it looked like that other track actually took you somewhere else, which it does, and you'll see that soon. So you can see somebody camping down here in a camper van. And I think just around here, didn't quite make that corner. Tree was a little bit further out than ideal. So you can see up here, there's a spot for a campfire there. So vehicle or camper trailer camping here next to the fire pit. There's a picnic table there as well, so amenities are pretty good. I believe there's a long drop toilet block around here somewhere. We didn't actually see it, but I think there is one. And then we just headed back and took this shortcut track that we saw before. This actually takes us on, bypasses the first little bit of Diggers Track, but the start's the easy part. So we bypassed the easy part and we were pretty much straight into it. And yeah, Diggers Track has got a bit of everything. If you saw the post on the channel on Facebook, rock steps, bog holes, the whole 9 yards. I was very lucky. I did this solo last time, and it was in April of 2019. And that time I didn't get stuck, and the track I think was easier. It's been dug out a lot since then, and it's more difficult. I think being a state forest rather than a national park, the level of grading and maintenance is different. So yeah, right from the get-go here, you're into this climb. Today, really firm base, good traction, easy drive, just a little bit uneven. But you can see the way those ruts have formed, that, you know, when the track is wetter, it gets soft, it gets slippery, and it should be a whole different ball game trying to climb this hill. And it's a pretty long, steady climb as well. And we've just pulled up there. Matt's jumped out to film this for me. Now, we didn't know it, but he's kind of risking life and limb doing all this filming for me on this trip, because the march flies here were insane and they were attacking him crazily. So if you see the camera wobbling a bit, it's because he's trying not to get eaten by the march flies. Nice little sheetrock there. Just trying to take it nice and steady on the throttle. Crawl my way up that. And there's another little rock step coming here that's a little bit hard to see till I actually get up it. You'll see the back tyres pop up just shortly. A little bit of throttle. And now the rear right tyre just needs to pop up there. And there it is. So yeah, definitely the easier line for this section on the left hand side there. Fortunately that tree fall was no longer blocking the track. I suspect when it came down it was. And you can see the erosion gullies and ruts on this section of track. A little bit of mumbo there just to get it up and going. You can see the black tyre marks from people spinning their wheels. I was, for that reason, just trying to control my throttle control and keep the momentum and not spin the wheels too much, which seemed to work. Again, traction control I think here helps a lot. And that was a good steady little rocky climb up there, that's for sure. And not too long, we're climbing another hill here. Not super long or super steep like the high country, but with their own set of challenges. You can see that rut on the right hand side there. You don't want to be dropping a tyre down in there, that's for sure. You're definitely getting stuck if you drop your wheels down in there. I don't know, maybe if you're driving 37-inch tyres you might be okay, but most of us are going to have a bad day if we drop a wheel down in there. So again, just a steady climb here. And you can see this next section, a little bit hard to tell on the camera, but decently rutted. And again, you can imagine what this would be like after a bit of rain. Whole different ball game. Some kind of clay base, I think. Just focusing on that throttle control. And there's a fairly deep rut that I'm actually spanning through here that probably doesn't really show up on camera until I drop off the side and into it. So definitely that section of track had been worn away a little bit over time. And that's one of the good things with Diggers Track is the obstacles seem to sort of exist in discrete groups, and you get a little bit of a holiday in between where you can cruise along. It's not a long track, it's like 6 or 8 Ks in total. And again, plenty of evidence here that guys have been having a good play at different times. All these look like they had a pretty good firm base. This one certainly did. Again, just nice and steady on the throttle. Plenty of clearance in this vehicle, and that was a nice easy drive through.
That was pretty uneventful, eh?
So heading on from there, you can see this next section of track is a little bit rutted. Nothing too onerous, and lo and behold, there's another little bog hole forming in a couple of ruts here. This one wasn't deep at all, nice solid base, so just drove straight through it. Again, just spanning the ruts here, sort of driving on top of them. You can see there, like at the moment, really dry, filled up with leaves and a little bit of litter. Decent rock step coming up here. You can see there the bull bar on the pad has just cleared that. And I'm just trying to get it to bite in and climb up, but we're just not quite getting there.
she goes. Keep it.
Just as I was thinking I wasn't going to get there, it bit in and we're able to get up. A little bit of mumbo to get over that last bit and we're up, over and out. So pretty happy with that. Another little set of ruts there. So I came across another one of these bog holes and really just thought, oh yeah, this is just another one, just like the other one. We'll just drop into it and drive out. We'll have a nice firm base. We did poke it with some sticks. We were wrong. We were very wrong. And we're stuck. Right there. Barely even into it. Yep, we're stuck, folks. Winch time. So obviously, if you had another vehicle with you, you would hook on the rear and you'd drag your car out backwards. But we didn't have another vehicle with us. So yeah, look, I'm trying forwards, backwards, moving the steering wheel. No. Won't have a bar of any of it. Nothing's happening. So Matt's had to put the camera down and again, still braving those March flies. Come and grab my winch for me. I'm trying not to lose his foot in the bog hole. So that's why he's shaking his head around, because the March flies were dynamite. See, we didn't have anything out ready because we honestly were not expecting this to happen. All the bog holes to this point have had really firm bases and haven't been an issue.
Okay.
So here we go, further into the bog hole. And as you can see, that front wheel is just getting deeper and deeper. It was below halfway into the mud and now the rim's nearly fully buried.
Left hand down. That's straight there.
A little bit too heavy on the accelerator there.
I just sort of winching in burst like you meant to.
Yeah, copy that. Just watch those volts on the battery.
So yeah, one of the things I'm conscious of these days is I get a bit carried away with that winch button, and it doesn't take much to suck the voltage out of the battery.
Straight there.
This is a 12,000 pound
Huge wall of mud on the front here.
worn Xeon platinum winch, and as you can see, it's pulling the car and a big chunk of mud as well. And I'm probably giving it a little bit too much throttle there, but I'm trying to balance that with getting some charge into the battery as well. So it's not all about the driving outcome, it's making sure that I don't run my battery flat and have no charge, because we don't have another vehicle with us.
Little bit left hand down. That's straight, if anything, sort of stuff.
Several minutes later, yeah, so this was a long time, and I'm not going to bore you guys with the entire winch. It was like half an hour. Obviously you don't want to sit here and watch half an hour of the vehicle being winched. And it was just soft, muddy clay.
Moving?
Yeah, very slowly.
Yeah. Several more minutes later.
Winch cable.
So you can see, like, we haven't actually made it that far yet. That's just trying to keep those damn March flies off him.
shaky camera. I've got at least 15 March flies attacking me.
I don't know if that came through for you guys, but 15 March flies attacking him. So we decided to reset the winch cable to a different location and see if that would help us. As you can see, we still haven't made that much progress because it's moving super slow with all this mud. Would have been so much easier to pull it out backwards with a vehicle behind us, but at least we had a winch on. If we hadn't had a winch on,
I wish these March flies were slow.
I don't think even the Max Tracks would have got us out of this. It's just too soft. It would have been calling professional recovery guys. We're too far from home to phone a friend. Lerderderg's a good 7-hour drive from Albury. So yeah, that's not going to happen. But fortunately, the winch doing the job, paid for itself once again. Like, honestly, that winch has been, maybe I'm just a bad driver and I use my winch a lot. I don't know.
Training temp's definitely getting up there. It's up to nearly 140.
Yeah, right. We really don't have too much further to go. Your bash plate's cleared the mud, so you should be driving soon.
So in case that didn't come through for you guys, what I was saying over the radio there to Matt was transmission temperature's actually up to 140.
Yeah, keep it that because your wheels are coming out of the mud beautifully without you spinning them.
So just lack of airflow for the transmission.
Yeah, I've just been giving it just a little bit of go.
Yeah, that's definitely been working. You're so nearly out of that.
And you can see there he's right, like the bull bar's lifting up out of the mud, the tyres are back up out of the mud. The rears are still in it a little bit, but the fronts are basically out. You saw the winch cable there start to go slack. And
hang on a second, mate.
Yeah, I think I can drive it from
we're basically out at this point. So just that one big soft spot in the middle. So yeah, able to drive out. So yeah, this is the aftermath. Unfortunately, I didn't go too far up the car. The tyres are pretty well caked in it. The wheels are pretty well caked in it. The rest of the car is actually not too badly covered. Could have been a different thing, I think.
So the carnage after the time before. So this was softer and wetter than anticipated. Basically we started dragging almost back here and we've dragged all the way through here. You can see the underbody bash plates dragging through here, pushing the mud along. So this didn't look that wet before we got here, but it is. So anyway, good test for the winch. Winch did its job once again.
Winch broke damage on the tree. Not using tree trunk protectors.
Clearly we're not the first ones to winch, but we may well be the first ones to winch using a tree protector. There's a fair bit of damage on all of these trees here, which is a shame to see. And it looks like it's from winch ropes or winch cables just being chucked around the trees without any tree protectors. So guys, use your tree protectors.
So yeah, nice dry section of track after that little escapade. As I said, that one winch has paid for itself. So I've gone with a Sherpa winch for the 76. So really going to be interested to see how that performs. A little bit cheaper than the Warn. Aussie design, not Aussie made, as was pointed out to me. I actually had thought they were Aussie made. Anyway, you'll see that on the 76 videos. So yeah, nice dry section of track here. Now I knew the real challenge for Diggers Track is still coming up ahead. Matt didn't know because I didn't tell him. Yeah, that looked black and uninviting, and given we just spent over half an hour winching the car out of the last bog hole. That one we said, we're driving around that. That did not look friendly or inviting at all. And I didn't want that black mud in my car. So this is actually the main obstacle of Diggers Track, and it's gotten worse from when I was here in 2019. Let me show you what I'm talking about.
Here we are at Diggers Track in the Lerderderg State Forest at a little section I like to call Mini Gunshot. Now, I didn't drive this last time I was here, and I'm not going to drive it today. There's a deep, muddy hole in the bottom and a near vertical climb out of here. So this is the A-line, and we'll leave that for the guys with 35 to 37 inch tyres and 5-inch lifts or something. Coming over here, this is the B-line. Now, I drove the B-line in 2019 when I was last here. It did not look like this. We're not driving the B-line today. We're not. Very soft, very mushy in the bottom there. Looks like it smells terrible. You can see like a stick's gone through there. And again, it's not vertical, but it's a near vertical climb. So this was 2 ruts when I drove it in 2019. That's all it was. So we're not taking the B-line. So is there a C line? Yes, there is. This is the C line. This is somewhat, almost, maybe perhaps drivable by people other than me. So again, I'm not going to drive the C line. We've got soft black mud in the bottom of this thing, really deep ruts, deep sides that invite panel damage, a near vertical exit, and a tree that's got so many winch rope marks on it, it tells me the story of how people get past this obstacle. So we're not driving the C line. Is there a D line? You bet there is. This is the D line here, you're looking at it. So we're going to reverse the padge up and we're going to take this D line here. This has still got, you know, some wet spots. It's still going to be a little bit interesting. We should avoid panel damage, so that's a good start. And we've got an exit out the other side here. There's another big bog hole over the back there, but we can and will avoid that. The March flies here at the moment, even though it's February, are pretty crazy. So yeah, only going to get in the car, line up. Troopy Matt's going to get on the camera, and we're going to drive the D line. I invite you to come and drive the A and B line. I would love to see that video.
So yeah, as I said, this has changed markedly from when I was here. Like, the mini gunshot was a mini gunshot, wasn't that deep, didn't have the ruts, it was more smooth. The C line barely existed, the D line did not exist, the B line was just a couple of ruts. So yeah, as I said, late in the day, we've already just spent half an hour, 40 minutes winching. We weren't really up for that again, so we did take the easiest of the 4 options. Still a nice little drive, fairly tight in amongst the trees. Let's just say I was glad I wasn't trying to pilot a 200 or a 300 through there. Particularly on the exit, you do get pretty close to those trees. So you can see that one there on the right, just as I'm swinging around it. That's pretty close. In fact, that back tyre's just kissed it. And that was because there was a bit of a boggy spot just in front of that other tree there, so we had to sort of get around there pretty sharply. So yeah, definitely the easy option there for us today. Who knows, maybe next time, depending on time and conditions, we'll try one of the other lines. Let's wait and see. So once we were past that, there really wasn't, as far as I recalled, too many more challenging obstacles. But definitely we come across some evidence that this is a bit of a playground in here, and people definitely come and have some fun. And as I said, this is not a super long track. It didn't take hours and hours, so you know, if you're in the area, well worth checking out. As you can see there, the fun's not over yet. That bog hole fills up most of the track, but there is a track around it. Usually a fair sign when you see bog holes like that with sticks standing up, crossed in front of them. It's usually a sign saying, no, do not drive in here. So again, definitely took the line around the side. That was very well travelled, and the exit actually has some decent sized ruts on it. And I decided to take the Luca line. That's what we call that. Spanning the ruts with one set of wheels up on the high bank and one in the middle. If you've seen the trip video from January, you probably know what I'm talking about. So from there, we're just pushing our way out to the main road, which is not too far away at all. So yeah, Diggers Track, less than 6 Ks, and there's all that fun to be had. So pretty good. And then you pop straight back out here onto Firth Road. So this road is 2-wheel drive, obviously, and you can follow it all the way out of here. And we started cruising down this road. You know, you can maintain a good speed on stuff like this. I think I just dropped out of probably 4 high back into 2 high, or maybe 4 high without the centre locker engaged, all-wheel drive in the patch. And this was a nice scenic drive as well, and that's the thing, Lerderderg's quite a scenic area. Does vary markedly, and the track changes fairly quickly as well. Wasn't too long before we thought, you know what, there's still sun in the sky. If a side track presents itself, why not? You know, I mean, the tracks that you do after 4 o'clock are always the best ones, right? Like the one more, no more. So yeah, side track time. I know what this track is called. We literally were just driving along, generally heading north to get out of the Lerderderg State Forest, and we saw this track and we said, looks like it joins on to somewhere else, sort of northeast of here, general direction of where we want to go. Let's follow it. So again, plenty of evidence here of people having a good time in the wet. Don't see much of this sort of stuff, and when you do see it in the high country, it's not dry like this, so this is the opportunity to drive through. Not a difficult drive, not wet in there at all, bone dry. But yeah, obviously that didn't get dug out in dry conditions. And then what we discovered is this track's a bit of a choose your own adventure. There's a lot of these sections where there's a left section and a right section. One tends to have a little mini bog hole like this, and the other side tends to have long ruts. So you sort of take your pick, which way do you go? So we just sort of alternated. And again, you can imagine in winter, like this one's got a bit of water sitting in it already. In winter, it'd be a whole different ball game. And yeah, just every few hundred meters they seem to pop up where you had a choice to make as to which section of track you were going to drive on. And clearly these have been dug out when it's been a lot wetter and a lot softer, rather than bone dry and full of leaves and twigs like it is now. And once again, you can see on the right there, looks like it's got a few ruts. We decided to take the left-hand side this time. starting to form some ruts up here, and a little bit soft and boggy and a little bit wet, but nothing too challenging at all today. And as I said, we're just generally making our way sort of northeast to get back to roads to start heading back home to Aubrey. So there's a lot of tracks down in Lerderderg. I certainly don't pretend to know all the good ones. Diggers Road's definitely one. You know, if you Google that on YouTube, plenty of videos of people doing it in different conditions. It's definitely a known track, and there's certainly others there as well. So we popped out here on what looks like a sort of main road track. I don't know. As you can see there on the screen, we're literally just vaguely heading north. We weren't really 100% sure. A lot of the tracks here don't seem to have names, which is not uncommon in state forests. So I got the HEMA HX2, and literally just following our location on that and making our way in the correct direction. As you can see, the track narrows up a bit in different places, but yeah, most of it is not difficult. You come down here in wet conditions, you're definitely going to want some friends with you, definitely going to want some winches. Some good cleared spots like that one just there on the left where you could set up a really cracking camp spot out of the way, and there's quite a few of those right throughout here. So, you know, if you're based in Melbourne or something, Lerderderg is quite accessible. I don't know why, but every time I look at that name, I just want to say Lerderderg. Maybe it's just me. It was Matt too. Could be just us. Not sure. But we thoroughly enjoyed this day out in Lerderderg. We really did. It was good fun, good tracks. So really pleased to be able to share this with you guys. And if you're down this way, I recommend you go and check it out. So we're getting close to getting out, and yeah, now we've got another little bog hole pretty much all the way across the track. So again, opted for the usually safe option of taking the side track, the very edge of the bog hole. We sort of poked it a bit and it felt firm, but you know, we were conscious that we thought that with the one we had to spend over half an hour winching through, so
it's looking pretty solid.
So yeah, I decided it was feeling sort of solid, but I thought, you know what, I'm just going to back up a little bit and just get a little bit of momentum, not a lot, but just a little bit, and just roll through it, which, you know, it wasn't an issue, and we've come out the other side quite comfortably. So again, you can imagine how much bigger that would be in winter time. It's the kind of thing that could be a bit of a showstopper. And from there, it was pretty much an easy run out to the main exit. And as we came out here, I think we're heading towards Ashbourne from here. There's this little hole here, and we're both like, okay, one more, no more. We've driven enough of these little ruts. What's one more? This one looked a little deeper and a little more interesting than some of the others. And so it was. And we're up and out, and from there pretty much on our way home. So looks, guys, thanks for watching. Hope you've enjoyed this video. Like this video if you liked it. Got any questions, ask them down below, and if you haven't already, please think about subscribing to the channel. Really appreciate all the subscribers. Thanks, guys. Catch you in the next video.